Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good morning, I'm Izzy Morgan, and these are your 10 o'clock news headlines. An American who was on the MV Hondius, the cruise ship where the hantavirus outbreak originated, has now tested positive for the virus. That person, in addition to a French national who was on board the ship, now brings the total number of cases to 8. 3 passengers died just last month. The Americans are being quarantined at a facility in Nebraska, and ABC News medical contributor Dr. Darian Sutton says the facility is high-tech and the virus itself doesn't spread as easily when compared to the flu or COVID.
This virus does not do a good job of that. We've seen at this point no passengers beyond this boat being tested or testing positive for this virus. That is a reassuring sign. But of course, with this new evidence, we have to continue to monitor this situation.
The captain of the ship has now released a statement thanking the crew and passengers for their perseverance. In a recorded message released by Oceanwide Expeditions, which hosted the ship, Captain Yadabrowski says his thoughts are with the ones that are no longer with us. Speaking about everyone on board, he said,
"What touched me the most, what moved me the most, was your patience, your discipline, and also kindness that you show to each other."
We're going to go live now to producer Andrew Chen, who's going to tell us more about what's happening today in the newsroom.
Right, thank you, Izzy. Our reporters are out today covering a lot of stories on the road. Specifically, Jana, our student, is covering a story about the motorcycle season starting and road safety on that. Staying on the road, Matthew is covering a story about the new crosswalk that's about to be implemented at Metrotown. June is talking about a TransLink story about how the UPass story are getting expired over the summer for students. We also have a story about a rental prom business as the prom seasons start to roll off the year, and another story about forestry industry and their impacts by the new tariffs. Back to you.
Thanks, Andrew. Mounties in northwestern British Columbia have cancelled a province-wide Amber Alert for 2 children. RCMP did not provide further details, but thanked the public for their assistance. The alert was issued just before 1 a.m. this morning and lifted just before 3. Mounties have said the children were taken late Saturday from an address in Terrace, BC, and were headed eastbound. Police believe the children were with a 37-year-old woman. Delta police say a motorcyclist is in the hospital after a crash that left the bike suspended from a traffic light. They say in a news release that members from the department responded to the scene at the 7100 block of Scott Road just before 3 p.m. Saturday. The statement says the motorcycle driver sustained serious but not life-threatening injuries, while the driver of the other vehicle did not suffer any injuries. Police say speed is believed to have been a contributing factor in the crash. Photos from the incident have been widely shared on social media depicting the blue motorcycle suspended vertically with the bar from the streetlight wedged between the front and body of the bike. Delta firefighters were among those who shared the images, saying in a post on Facebook that some of its members had also responded to the scene and assisted with patient care, scene safety, and later removed the motorcycle from the traffic light. Vancouver is hosting World Cup games next month, and transportation officials are working hard to manage what may be the city's biggest ever event. Here's Robbie Parker with more.
Millions of eyes will be on the city of Vancouver as it plays host to 7 matches during the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Behind the scenes, transportation and mobility officials are working hard, ensuring the expected massive crowd of people can maneuver outside BC Place and the Fan Fest in a safe manner. Sherwood Plant, transportation engineer and the transportation lead for the World Cup in Vancouver, said to me what a good plan feels like.
A successful transportation experience is a forgettable one. If people aren't talking about transportation at the city, if they're really just talking about the event, that's great. That means it's gone well, because it's not about the trip to the stadium. It's about what you're experiencing at the stadium.
The city of Vancouver seems more than ready to host a World Cup effectively next month, starting on June 11th. Robbie Parker, BCIT News.
I'm Izzy Morgan, and this is BCIT's The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Good morning. I'm Noah Peckham, and here are your sports headlines. In the NHL, the Montreal Canadiens took a 2-1 series lead over the Buffalo Sabres in their second-round matchup. The Canadiens' home crowd rallied behind goaltender Jakub Dobeš as he continued his impressive playoff run. He stopped 26 shots en route to his 6-2 Montreal victory. Here's Dobeš speaking about the fans post-game.
They're amazing. I just always try to show some love or do anything to make them feel like I know, I hear them, I understand. So just something back made them happy, so I'm happy.
The record-breaking Carolina Hurricanes await the winner of that series. The Hurricanes are the first team in NHL history to not lose a game in the first 2 rounds of a 7-game playoff series. The Hurricanes are in the conference final for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. The Anaheim Ducks evened their series against the Vegas Golden Knights at 2 games with a 4-3 win last night. Former Toronto Maple Leaf star, now Golden Knight Mitch Marner, continues to turn heads as he had a 3-point night, propelling him into first in the playoffs for points with 16. Despite the loss, Vegas head coach John Tortorella showed confidence in his team.
I have zero worry about this team as far as how we're going to go about the next few games here, wherever it goes to. I have total trust.
A former Winnipeg hockey coach who admitted to sexually assaulting a teen player has been sentenced to 6 years in prison. Madison Billick was accused of having an inappropriate sexual relationship with the girl between 2019 and 2021. Billick was initially faced with 15 charges and pleaded guilty to luring and sexual assault. She was in her 20s at the time of the offenses, which started when the victim was 15. Provincial Court Judge Jerry Lee Ryle says Billick used her authority and influence to groom the player. The judge says Billick caused emotional and physiological harm and that the ripple effects continue. Team Canada's men's hockey team played an exhibition game against France ahead of the World Hockey Championship. North Vancouver's Macklin Celebrini was named captain before the game. He went on to have a goal and 3 assists, helping Canada to a 6-1 win. The Men's World Championship officially begins on May 15th. Canada starts the tournament with a game against Sweden. In the NBA, the Knicks have swept the 76ers in the playoffs, advancing to the Eastern Conference Final for the 2nd year in a row. They dominated with a 144-114 win on Sunday, marking their 7th straight postseason victory. The Knicks now await the winner of the Cleveland-Detroit series. They are eyeing their first NBA Finals since 1999. In the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves tied their series against the San Antonio Spurs at 2 games apiece. Spurs star Victor Wembanyama was ejected from the game as the Timberwolves won 114-109. The NBA's worst team this season is getting the number 1 pick in the draft. Reporter Gethin Coolbaugh has more.
The Washington Wizards won the NBA draft lottery on Sunday and are poised to pick first overall for the first time since choosing John Wall in that spot in 2010. Wall was the Wizards' on-stage representative for this year's lottery. Washington had a 14% chance of winning number 1, tied with Brooklyn and Indiana for the best odds. The 17 and 65 Wizards had basically a 50-50 chance of either a top 4 pick or the number 5 spot. Utah will pick number 2, Memphis number 3, and Chicago number 4. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
In the PWHL, the Ottawa Charge are heading to their 2nd straight Walter Cup final. The Charge defeated the Boston Fleet 4-3 in double overtime, winning the series 3-1. Former Vancouver Golden Michaela Cava scored the winner for Ottawa. It was Cava's first goal with the Charge since being traded from Vancouver in January. That's all for now. I'm Noah Peckham for BCIT's The Crow. Thanks for listening.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane.